Hey everyone. So you're wondering where my friend Mike Lindell is? Well, guess what? He was actually creating the My Slipper. It's like walking on clouds, right? Don't forget to use the promo code Carter, Carter, and you will receive 40% off of your My Slippers. Your whole family's going to love it. Welcome to Texas. I hope you're all paying attention to what's happening along our U.S.-Mexico border. It's unbelievable that we have been through this and over this year after year, only for it to culminate through, I don't even know how many presidents, how many administrations, only for it to culminate in a far worse situation and a crisis than we had ever imagined. And I'm right here in the Rio Grande Valley sector. I'm back in Texas again. I got to tell you, I love Texas. I love this state. I love the people. I love the fact that when I'm in McAllen or I'm in Donna, Texas, or, I'm traveling through some small town like Hidalgo, people actually wave and smile and they say hello. They say hello. It's so different. I got to tell you, people, East Coasters, I know you're good people out there. I live in Northern Virginia, but you got to learn how to be a little bit nicer to people you don't know. Just say hello, just smile, wave, do something. I don't know, and get some really great Tex-Mex food. We've got to get that in the East Coast because there is nothing better. I'm telling you, Mexican food and Tex-Mex food has to be up there with like the top 5 foods on planet Earth. It's so flavorful. It's so beautiful, colorful, amazing. It's like a party on your plate, right? So that's just a little lesson from Texas. This is a great state. The people here are great. What they are having to deal with is not so great. And that is what I'm going to be talking about on today's show. And I think it's very important that we pay attention to what is happening here on the border, not only the issue with, of course, the young unaccompanied migrants that are coming across the border, those young kids that are illegal, that are traveling through numerous countries with dangerous people to get here to the United States, but also all those family units. Those are people that are traveling with children, as well as, and most importantly, the American people and our Border Patrol agents. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Talk about the breaking story I did for Sean Hannity. Huge, huge story, very important. And I'm going to read that letter here on the show. It was a whistleblower who couldn't take it anymore. And what he was seeing in the Donna facility where they were holding over 4,000 people. Now he could not take it anymore. He needs someone to listen to him or her. And they need people there in that facility to pay attention to what is going on. And that means all the way up in Washington. You will not want to miss the show. Remember, the show is sponsored by one of the greatest organizations in the United States, and that is AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. It is the fastest growing conservative 50-plus organization in America. AMAC believes in the values that have made America so great: faith, family, and freedom. AMAC offers an alternative to just about every benefit. Listen to this. Every benefit that AARP offers. Why? Because they don't have a crazy liberal agenda. No, AMAC will stand up for the Constitution and they fight for you. Look, I stand with AMAC and I hope that you will too. I encourage you to join today at amac.us/Carter. That's CARTER at amac.us/Carter. The benefits of membership are great, but the cause is even greater. Join today at amac.us/Carter. You do not want, trust me, you do not want to ignore that and you will not regret it. Join AMAC. And thank you, AMAC. Thank you for sponsoring this great show so that we could get the message out to our listeners, to you out there who may not be able to come to the border, may not have the time every day to see what's going on in the newspaper. That's why we're here. I'm trying to give you the stories straight from where they are happening. And that story is happening here in McAllen, Texas, in Donna, Texas, in Hidalgo, in the border towns, in Brownsville. And by the way, in Yuma, Arizona. Thank you so much to all of the brave and great Border Patrol agents and our National Guard and our law enforcement officials and our sheriffs, everybody out here, DPS, Texas Department of Public Safety, everybody who's out here who fights every single day for our freedom. Thank you so much. And thank you for being the front line. And also, thank you for being the first line of rescue for so many of these people that are coming from so far away, so many of them wounded, injured, sick. I mean, some of the children that are running into our Border Patrol agents, this is the first time they've ever seen a doctor. This is the first time they've ever been immunized. Trust me, our agents are out there. They are doing whatever they can, but they want to be able to protect the United States first, right? The most important thing, the reason they are there is to protect the national security of the United States. But guess what they're doing now? The majority of them, they're taking care of children. They're changing diapers. They're running out and trying to get milk for the babies that are in these facilities. They are trying to coordinate with all of their local partners to try to figure out where are we going to put all these people. And it's overwhelming, guys. It's overwhelming. They don't even know what to do. I'm at this facility, and let me describe it. It's really incredible. It's like you've got these huge, massive tents, right, that look like maybe a football field in length. And inside are hundreds of people, 600, 700, 1,000 inside these tents. There's no windows. There's air conditioning being pumped in. So now you got to take into account, it was about 91 degrees yesterday, 91 to 92 degrees when I was out there. You're taking people from the outside, people who've been out in the sun and the heat, walking a long time. Now you're putting them into a tent and it's pretty cold. And they only have like these little foil blankets that are covering themselves with. And they're cramped up so much so that they're sleeping on top of each other. The children and the families. I mean, in fact, if I read the letter, and I'm going to read that in a moment to you, it was so over capacity. It was so over capacity, the Donna facility. The people that were working there were terrified of what could happen. They were saying this is an incredibly dangerous situation. It is so dangerous that it exposes everyone's life to the possibility of anything happening, whether it's a panic and people go running, whether there's disease, whether there's COVID. And the Biden administration is going to tell you that this is not a crisis. I broke this story last night. A whistleblower who is at the Donna facility sends this email to his chain of command all across the board, right? All across the board. It was leaked to me by a source that was privy to this email. Not by this whistleblower. That much I can tell you. And it says, with all the respect and honor, I understand that many people are aware of the following situation. My intent is to ensure that the chain of command understands the situation from the agent's point of view. I hope this message reaches the appropriate people. If it needs to be forwarded to someone else, please do so. I will preface this notice by saying that all the agents, men and women, and the immediate chain of command here in the Donna facility are working very hard to do the very best that they can, regardless of the circumstances. I have no ill will and the utmost respects towards everyone that I am working with. The situation inside the Donna processing facility, this is where they process all the new migrants that are crossing the border. Everybody is coming over illegally. This is where they come first in this area in the Rio Grande Valley sector. That's just a side note, going back to the letter. The situation inside the Donna processing facility has reached a point of critical. It is extremely unsafe and unhealthy for the detainees, agents, and civilian workforce. The overcrowding is dangerous for the detainees, the agents, and civilian workforce. The overcrowding is inhumane, especially for the children. Pod 3A is designed to hold 80 people. And on this day, which was just 2 days ago from this podcast, we have 694 unaccompanied children with two agents maintaining custody. That is 867% of the stated capacity of this detention space. The agents cannot possibly provide for the care, health, and safety of the aliens in our custody, nor can we reasonably do so for ourselves. The agents have very little control, if any, in the pods. The agents only control the pods as far as the good graces of the people being detained allow. If calm disintegrates inside these pods, there will be no way to control it. The situation is a disaster waiting to happen. Someone with the proper authority must do something immediately to alleviate the severe overcrowding before we experience a tragedy. It is critical that we get more space and more help immediately. Think about that. That's just the first part of this letter. Think about that. Think about what they're going through in there. Think about the smells. Think about the overcrowding. Think about if there's not enough space for people to sleep, where are the restrooms? What about the outhouses? What's going on there? Sad. The agents are overly stressed and fatigued with trying to manage the care for these aliens. In this extreme overcrowding situation, the detainees are also stressed and fatigued and becoming more agitated each passing day. One girl told me that she has been in her cell for 17 days. Many more complain that they have been here for more than 2 weeks. The detainees are often laying on top of each other because there is no room to sleep. The unaccompanied children have to sleep on their side to save space in order for them all to lay down in the small space. When they are laying down in the cells, the entire floor is not visible. There is a human breaking point that will be reached at some point. Unfortunately, we do not know when that is, hence making the situation extremely volatile and unpredictable. Think about it. If we have a fire or carbon monoxide leak from the generators, a stampede, or any number of potential and likely occurrences, many people could and will die. If a disease enters this facility, it will be impossible to contain an outbreak. We already have had a lice outbreak. I'm not going to finish the rest of this letter, and I want to keep the person that wrote this, I want to keep their name out of this because they are speaking for every single agent that I have talked to on this border. Every single agent is stressing this. This is not one person complaining. This is the voice of many. This is what is happening here in the United States of America. This should not be happening. The Biden administration knew when they started advertising that we're going to turn over Trump's policies. We're going to change everything. We're going to open it up. We're going to stop the wall. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Pretending to be these humanitarians. All they did was create a humanitarian crisis because without rules, without any semblance of normalcy, without any lines being drawn, the only people that win are the drug cartels and the human traffickers and the politicians who use regular, normal people like you and I, like I always say it, like a ping pong ball, like they don't even care. They don't even care. Do you really think they care about these children? They won't even allow our lawmakers in. They will not even allow our lawmakers in. I want you to hear this. This is a sound clip. This is from Sean Hannity's show last night. I completely agree with my friend, Senator Lindsey Graham. I want you to hear this.
Well, that's insane at multiple levels, but congratulations to Sarah Carter and your team. If this is proven to be true, and I have no doubt it is,
we have got a
humanitarian. Yeah. Okay. All I can say is
I've got the letter.
3A. Well, let me tell you this. Pod 3A, according to your reporting, is supposed to hold 80 people. There were 694 children in Pod 3A being managed by 2 Border Patrol agents. God bless the Border Patrol. God bless the custom agents who are dealing with the Biden administration shit show at the border. I am going down with 18 senators Friday. And if I'm denied the ability to look into any place I want to go, we're going to shut the Senate down.
Shut the Senate down. Do it. Do it. How many times has the United States had to put up on the American, us, U.S. citizens? How many times are we told, oh, if we catch you without a mask, you're going to go to jail? How many people have been thrown off, planes because their children won't put a mask on their face? How many times have you went to a grocery store? Oh my gosh, I forgot my mask. Or you've been given a dirty look, or a cop has asked you to put your mask up on your face. You're in New York or, Washington, D.C. Yet it's the same people that make those rules, that have made all these stringent rules, that have made us question our own sanity, that have locked us into our homes, that are now just letting people cross the border, not even COVID testing them. And even when they COVID test them, what are they going to do with them? And what about all these innocent people that are being used, played with politically, that think they're going to come here to America only to find out like, oh, crap, we've been lied to again. Senator Graham, shut it down if they don't let you in. This is our taxpayer dollars. This is what we, the American people, are in charge. Senator Graham and all the other senators represent us, and they know it, and they're good senators. They know this. That's why he's saying that. Obviously, the Biden administration has forgotten that. Let's remind them that it's our taxpayer dollars that are going to all these facilities that are trying to figure out what's going on. All these poor children. I don't care if you agree or disagree or how you feel about immigration or how you feel about the border or how you feel about fences. I don't even care. But the humanity of it all, right? Just our existence, our human rights. Children should not be treated by their parents, first of all, like this. They should not be sent alone with a bunch of coyotes and a bunch of, depraved people, which is what the drug cartels and human traffickers are. Depraved human beings should not be trafficking children into our country. It's just common sense, right? These children should not be facing what they have to face on the road. Who's going to speak for these children? And by the way, when they get in here, they shouldn't have to be facing that. They shouldn't be trapped in a tent with no windows, because that's what it is. It's a big white, football field tent with no windows. Can't even see what's going on in there. Poor Border Patrol agents just trying to take care of these kids. No outdoor circulation of air. I'm sure there's air conditioning, but that's not always great, right? Just listen to the letter that I read you. Listen to that. These are children, people. These are babies. It doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter, what their name is. What matters is that we take care of ourselves, of our neighbors, and we don't allow stuff like this to happen. And number one, we take care of our nation and we take care of our law enforcement officials. They must come first. They can't do their job. How can they even monitor the border when they're so busy, and the cartels know this, when there's 600 people flooding in one area of the border? How can they even manage this? Right? It's sad and it's wrong. I'll put this into perspective. This is what I talked to about Sean. Sean's been great about getting these stories out and just getting the truth to the American people. So this is what I said on Sean's show last night about this situation here in Donna, Texas. Just to put it in perspective for you, the population of Donna, Texas as of 2019 was just over 16,000 people. Listen to this.
I don't think there's any way to express what I'm hearing from Border Patrol agents any more than what the letter already stated. I obtained that letter exclusively from a source that was made privy to that email. And the reason is because there's enormous frustration here at the border. People feel like they're not being listened to. The employees feel as though their calls for help to Washington, D.C. are being ignored. And they want Washington to start listening. Look, right behind me, you can see this facility. This is the facility that they are talking about. To put it into perspective, Sean, this facility, there's roughly about 4,000 people. And right before you came on the air, 2 more busloads of people were brought into this facility, which actually really looks more like a prison. We can't even see the people coming out of the buses when they're being processed into the tents because there's absolutely no windows on any of those tents. But to put it into perspective, with the roughly 4,000 people in this facility, that increased the population of Donna, Texas by 25%.
25% increase in the population of Donna, Texas, right there at that facility, and it's expected to increase exponentially. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who said there wasn't a crisis at the border, he was lying, who wouldn't even allow the media to come with him when he came out here to the border or follow him or go into any of those facilities because he's lying to you. He's lying to you. Said there isn't a crisis. There is a crisis at this border. And he even admitted himself that it's going to grow exponentially. He even said this is what's so crazy. It's like such gaslighting, right? It's like they're the biggest gaslighters in the world, right? You're not supposed to see what's right before your very eyes. See, this is my job. My job is to challenge them. They're going to try to make you, and it's with anything, with whether it was the Russia hoax and breaking the Russia hoax story. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not Andy McCabe. No, I'm not James Comey. No, I'm not James Clapper. I have the documents right here in front of my face. You liars. And now I'm here at the border and I'm saying, guess what? Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, just because you have that title doesn't make everything that comes out of your mouth true. It's a lie. Why? Because I'm here on the border. Why? Because I speak Spanish and I talk to those kids and I talk to the people that are traveling here. Why? Because I can see it with my own eyes. My eyes are not playing tricks on me. Why? Because we have documents that prove that what went on inside and what is going on inside that facility is plain wrong. And you cannot hide that truth. We are not stupid. And we're going to find out. In fact, this is America, last I heard. My job as a journalist is to find out the truth. My job as a columnist, I guess, I like to say that better now because I have a point of view. I'm not doing the reporting that I used to do. I do it with a point of view, and I'm open about that. I don't want to take this anymore. These liars, I'm not going to just buy the BS that I hear in Washington. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm reporting for you. I want to tell you how disgusted I am when I don't know if you guys saw this, but if you did, I mean, just, oh my gosh, so insane, that our Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, here she is. You would think that there would be some compassion coming out of her mouth. As a woman perspective, I don't know, whatever, I would have thought that I would have heard something compassionate about the crisis at the border. But this is what Kamala Harris did when she was asked if she was planning on visiting the border. Listen to this.
Do you have plans to visit the border?
Not today. But I have before, and I'm sure I will again.
Oh, oh, silly you. Visiting the border. That was like you asked her, did you take a ride on a UFO today? What the heck is wrong with these people? What is wrong with our country that we'd vote people like this into office? I want you to think about that. I'm not even going to put the blame completely on the complete idiots in Washington, D.C. I mean, we're a part of that. We put people in office. Now we got to hold them accountable. If they don't prove to be what we expect them to be, we got to say, you know what? That wasn't even funny, Vice President. That wasn't even funny. There are kids down here that are like sleeping on top of each other that don't even have parents. There are children in that facility. Guess what? They haven't even seen their real parents in like 7 or 8 years. They really haven't. They've been raised on the streets. Some of those boys in there are MS-13 gang members. Yeah, they are. Let's just be honest. I don't need to cover up for anyone. I'm not afraid of telling the truth. There are some really crappy parents in this world that never went back for their children. And there are some that had circumstances beyond their control. That's just the reality of life. It doesn't matter if they're from Latin America, the United States, Africa, Middle East. There are just some really crappy people in the world. It's just all even for me. Humanity is filled with good and bad and in the middle. And our job is to find out those stories. So when the vice president, laughs about a situation like this, it's not a laughing matter. It's very serious. And she should get down here to the border and she should be demanding answers. And, remember how inhumane Trump was, so inhumane. Remember AOC crying out here at the border and all of those crocodile tears that they shed. Well, if they're not crocodile tears, come down here. Everything on an even playing field, right? Everything on an even playing field. Come down here. I'll come with you. I'll translate for you. We could sit there and interview the children together, Vice President. Madam Vice President, I am more than happy to help. I'm sure she'll turn that down. Absolutely. She will not take me up on that offer. But if she does, I'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to go with her because I think this is a real crisis. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a Green Party member, I don't even care where you're from or what your political affiliation is. This is wrong. And our Border Patrol agents need our support, and our Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents need our support. The American people deserve our support. And there needs to be an even playing field. People need to realize that there are laws and there are consequences for breaking those rules. If there are no consequences, then guess what? Nobody will care. It will be complete chaos. There are consequences for this, right? Let me tell you, this is, I think, just to put this even more into perspective. I hate using that over and over again, but it's true. Jenny Terre wrote a story. She broke a story while I was actually down here at the border doing her border work up in Washington, D.C. And it's on sarahcarter.com. It's also on our foundation's website. And I don't know if you all know this, but I started a foundation a few years ago. It's called the Dark Wire, an investigation foundation. It means a lot to me. It's a fledgling foundation. So I'm trying to really build it up. I really want to make this foundation something special where we can train young journalists, young people to be really good investigators, to ask the right questions, to tell the truth, to expose the truth, and to inform the public. You cannot have a republic. You cannot have a great democracy without having information, right? Information. And honest information in your hands so you can make the right decisions. And the media has just failed immeasurably over the last few years doing that. And I really hope that with the Dark Wire and Investigation Foundation, we can do that. We can bring in experts. You know, we're just going to be honest, have a place for discussion, and let those young people own. They will own these projects. It won't be Sarah Carter project. I can help guide. I can bring people in. But they will literally own these projects. They will belong to them. They will be vested in this, whether that's human smuggling, whether that's drug addiction in America, the opioid crisis, whether that's corruption in Washington, D.C., whatever it is that we are investigating, whether it's overseas, dealing with Israel and the Palestinian issue, whether it's, going to Pakistan and covering terrorism. I want to be able to build a foundation that educates the public and that exposes the truth, whether it's migration and young people suffering or Border Patrol agents. We deserve to know the truth. Well, Jenny wrote this great story. It first published on the darkwire.com. You can go there, thedarkwire.com. It is our foundation. It's a 501c3. Any donation, is tax deductible. And she wrote this story. Texas Border Patrol encountered 25 groups of over 100 illegal immigrants this year. 25 groups. And I think, honestly, that's what they encountered. What about the ones they didn't encounter? What about the gotaways? That's like what Art Del Cueto said. He's the vice president there in, of the Border Patrol in Yuma. What about all the gotaways? Think about that. 25 groups of 100 and more migrants alone this year. And, she writes about this over the weekend. The situation was no different in McAllen. Border Patrol station agents encountered large groups of migrants from El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Mexico, and Belize. On Saturday, agents near Havana, Texas, encountered a group of over 145 migrants. Later that day, a group of 108 migrants was apprehended in La Jolla, Texas. And that's out in this area that I'm in right now, La Jolla, and as well as Hidalgo, and all of these areas are kind of like small areas right in the same vicinity. But think about what they're dealing with. So while you're, processing 300 migrants or 108 migrants or whatever, you're not watching other areas of the border. They're wide open. They can hear the sensors going off, and there's no one to send them. What's crossing through that sensor? I have no idea. We can't get there fast enough, and all of our agents are processing the migrants over here. The cartels know this. They are war machines. These are narco-terrorists, and they know exactly how to operate. They are an insurgency that is poisoning our country. Derek Maltz said that. Remember, former DEA had him on if you didn't hear the podcast with Derek Maltz, you've got to hear it. And also the latest podcast I did as well with Congressman Babin. It's all about the border. You have to listen to those to really understand that we are in a war. right now in our country to save our children and to stop this madness. You've got to listen to those. So you got to read the story. Go to sarahcarter.com. It's Texas BP encountered 25 groups of over 100 illegal immigrants this year. It's by Jenny Terre. You go to the Dark Wire. Remember, it's the Dark Wire and Investigation Foundation. Any donation is tax deductible. We're working on getting a number of young journalists ready for a new internship coming up in the summer. Any help that you can provide would be great, and it would be greatly appreciated. Look, guys, I'm here on the border all week. I'm going to be bringing more stories to you from here. It is a crisis. President Biden, it is a crisis. You need to pay attention to this. Vice President Kamala Harris, without even making fun, without poking fun, you are the Vice President of the United States. Get out here. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening to our Border Patrol agents and to our communities and to these young people that are crossing. If you really care about these people, if you really care about our country, you are going to put a stop to this. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Sarah Carter Show. Look, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's YouTube or, hey, Rumble. Rumble's really great. You guys got to go to Rumble. It's really, really good. You know, YouTube demonetized me, but I really don't care. I know a lot of you still go to YouTube. But also be sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all of that social media. You can find it all at sarahacarter.com. Remember that sarahacarter.com. And most importantly, sign up for our email list, because if you join the email list, I promise we will stay in touch. Regardless of censorship, regardless of shadow banning, you will always get the truth from me to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this story. Thank you so much for joining me from the beautiful state of Texas. I promise to be back with more for you shortly. And we've got lots to report on, lots of work to do together. Remember, you are not the problem. You are the solution. You can make a difference. Contact your lawmakers. Let them know how you feel. Let them know that you want to change. Let them know that you know what's going on and that they cannot take advantage of you. Thank you so much. Remember, here at the Sarah Carter Show, we are taking the story back.
Hi, it's Dana Lash, host of The Dana Show. Every day, I'm here to keep you up to speed on the most important stories and info that you need to know in your very busy life. And if you're always on the go and you want to stay connected, just download our daily podcast and take it with you. It's a great way to get up to speed on what you need to know and what legacy media may not be telling you. Visit danaradio.com and click on the podcast link or subscribe at iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.